All right, now it's time for Store Brand TMZ.
Justin Bieber!
Store Brand TMZ, by the way, is brought to you by Hot Salt, Firecracker.farm, not .com, .org, or .net, Firecracker.farm with the promo code BASED, B-A-S-E-D, like the title of the show, will save you 10% off your order at the checkout. Hot Salt is a combination of Mediterranean sea salt, scorpion pepper, Carolina Reaper, and ghost pepper. Hot Salt goes great on anything, made with love on a family farm. Firecracker.farm, promo code BASED, B-A-S-E-D, like the title of the show, will save you 10% off your order at the checkout on the Hot Salt. Okay, well, first off, at Store Brand TMZ, let's take a look. This is Lane Kiffin, the head coach of Ole Miss football, a noted Taylor Swift fan, makes his players listen to it during practice. The Ole Miss football coach, Lane Kiffin, though, his daughter decided to play a prank on him, a FaceTime prank. And she shows this picture to her dad of the ugliest baby that you've ever seen. It's a prank. It's not really the cousin's baby. And tells him that it's her cousin's baby. And this is how it goes. Go watch his facial reaction here.
Dad, look at Tate's baby cousin. Look.
What is that?
It's her baby He's so cute.
So cute.
Oh, I just love his face there. He's so cute. I mean, can we be honest for a second? Nothing's more precious than the gift of life. But oh my God, 99.99% of newborn babies look like they were hatched out of an alien's ass. Newborns? I'm not talking like 1 month olds. I'm talking newborns.
Because they're fresh out of their nice little home.
I know. It didn't change nothing. Next up, this picture of Selena Gomez has gone viral. It's an image she shared. Go ahead. It's just an image. It in the corner, you saw KY Jelly. They forgot to put their extracurricular activities. They forgot to put them away before they took the picture there. That's her and her. Who's her fiance? Who's she getting married to?
Benny Blanco.
Who the hell is that?
He's a music producer. He's actually done a lot of big songs.
Well, they're saying that she has the lube because she needed it because he doesn't turn her on. So she had to. That's not how that works. She's getting roasted, though, for having the lube in the picture. Roasted for it. Guys, this is welcome to being an adult. Did you know that couples have sex?
No.
Now, if it was like a 12-inch black strap-on, yeah, I might have some questions. Lube is pretty benign. It's pretty benign there, believe it or not. This next one here, this is JoJo Siwa. Recently went on. What's this celebrity show? They put a bunch of celebrities in a house and they vote each other out. Is that Big Brother? It's some bullshit reality TV show that's not run by Pam Bondi. But JoJo Siwa went on the show with Mickey Rourke, the famous actor, and this is how their interaction went. This is chaos right here. You're going to feel awkward watching this or listening. I promise you.
What is the what? Where's the singer?
Here. Come on, let's go on a journey.
So do you like girls or boys?
Me? Girls.
I know, I could tell.
My partner is non-binary. That's the vape smoke room.
Just think, in 4 days, we'll never see each other again.
In 4 days?
Nah, babe.
I'm trying to last 4 days. If I stay longer than 4 days, you won't be gay anymore.
I can guarantee I will still be gay and I will still be in a very happy relationship.
I'll tie you up.
I can promise you that won't happen. I dare you to try. You'll be the one tied up.
Yeah. We all vote each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually. I'm going to vote the lesbian out real quick.
JoJo.
That's homophobic.
Eh?
So that's homophobic, if that was your reasoning.
Have you got anyone you want to vote out? Well, no, we actually can't discuss this. No, we can't discuss this. This is undiscussable.
The lesbian I'm going to vote out.
No, you can't do that, Mickey.
You also can't say that.
No, we can't.
Which JoJo's real? JoJo, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
JoJo.
JoJo.
Lovely lady.
Is she?
Lovely girl, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a good lad.
Appreciate ya.
She's what I call some woman.
I need a fag. Not talking to you. I need a fag.
Mickey, you can't say that, Mickey.
One breath at a time, troops. One breath at a time.
Mate, you're on your own. You can't say that, Mickey.
I know, but I was talking about a cigarette.
I know you. I know. Yeah, I know.
See you boys in a
See you,
minute.
mate.
Yeah.
Hope you find that cigarette.
Yeah, me too.
Crazy old man.
He's just from a different planet, bless him.
This is Big Brother. Would Mickey come to the diary room?
It's crazy to me that still exists.
Everyone keeps, oh, it's old-fashioned, blah, blah. You can't justify it because
Nope.
it's not right. You can't try and justify things which just
Nope.
aren't right. There's no point us sitting here and going, oh, it's like if it's someone's age, it's so like that's not a thing anymore.
But what I felt when you were over there was like you had my back. And that, to be honest, that we've known each other less than 24 hours. You have no reason to have my back.
Because it's there's right and wrong, though, isn't
But it's between right and wrong, and that meant a lot. So
yeah, it's not about having your back. It's
thank
like
you. Yeah.
there's right and then there's wrong.
Yep.
You're right though. That's not too bad, bit. Come on. Wait. You're getting upset, aren't you? Have a little cry. Crying is my favourite therapy.
That's enough.
Well,
Come on.
welcome in.
I'm not going to expose my audience to this trash television any longer. I have so many questions. First off, number one, who watches this crap? How little do you have going on in your life that you can sit down and watch a bunch of washed up celebrities do nothing but just exist together in a house? That's all that show is. It's Big Brother. That's Celebrity Big Brother. They used to just have Big Brother, where they'd put a bunch of people that you've never heard of in a house. My next question is, how far have these celebrities fallen that this is what they're doing, where they get put in this house? You know what would be real interesting is if they put Kanye West on the show next. Could you imagine if they threw Kanye West into the Celebrity Big Brother house? They might burn it to the ground to get rid of him if they put Kanye West in there. So JoJo Siwa has since come out and since that airing and said she has now realized she's not a lesbian. So do you think Mickey Rourke actually bullied her into being straight? I mean, there are evangelical Christian groups, if they're not calling this guy up right now in the midst of this news, right now, hitting up Mickey Rourke's line, because 3 minutes with Mickey Rourke was more effective than every conversion camp in the country. The guy's batting 1,000% right now. Mickey Rourke will turn any lesbian straight within minutes. They should be hitting this guy up as we speak right now. If they want to do this. You got 2 more here. Shaquille O'Neal recently went viral due to, I want to call it a bathroom-related incident that he had at a halftime show. Go ahead, check this out.
The other thing about Kawhi is, you all right, big fella? Catching a cramp?
Go ahead, keep talking, Jeff.
Yeah, we're on TV.
I know what we're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's that olive oil you've been drinking.
I know.
Hey, take some matches with you. Hey, listen, he couldn't hold it. He can't hold it. After 40, he can't hold it no more.
That's at first.
He can't hold it.
Unless
he's got something.
That wasn't something planned, was it?
No,
that was not planned.
Hey, listen.
It happens to the best of us, you know. Could you imagine how bad it must smell after Shaq destroys a bathroom, though? After Shaq destroys a bathroom? Oh, my goodness. All right, well, there's one more here, and it has been going viral on the internet. The discussion is raging. The debate, we should call it, as to who would win in a fight. One gorilla or 100 men? Mia, who do you think wins? No weapons, one gorilla, 100 men. Average men. They're not John Jones and Chuck Norris and all these bad motherfuckers. Average men. So a guy that's like 5'9", 185 pounds, not a freak athlete. He might work out a little bit, but nothing too special. 100 of them or one silverback gorilla. Who do you think wins? All at the same time.
I'm going to say the gorilla because I would say the 100 men if they were like bigger and stronger.
MMA guys?
Yeah. Yeah. Because not only are you going to need to like take him down, but you're going to have to find some way to kill him. So I would think like the first guys going in, like, you know, are you making fun of me?
No, I'm listening to you.
So, like, the first guys, like, charging in would, like, try and take him down.
Go for the legs.
Yeah, and then, like, the last batch of guys coming in would try and, like, kill him. But how do you kill a gorilla with no weapons?
No weapons. That's where it gets tough.
And you're not, like, a big, like, strong guy.
The only thing you can bank on is that if you all, like 100 guys swarm you at once, you're in trouble. I don't care who you are. The only thing you could bank on is that the gorilla gets worn out in the fight. I think the gorilla wins, but I think it's closer than people think it would be. I don't think it would be a cakewalk. Now, 5 guys versus a gorilla, yeah, that's a different question. Now, here's the other question. What if we mix it up? What if I'm in that group of 100 guys? 100 average guys and me. Then, do you think we prevail against the gorilla?
Sorry, no.
You lack that confidence in me. So someone who's of above average strength and above average intelligence, myself.
But you can't just have one of
100 me's.
Maybe.
100 B's. Okay, how about Chuck Norris with a squirt gun on his own?
Just Chuck Norris versus a gorilla.
Yes. Chuck, easy.
Yeah, because he can like move out of the way, do some like tricks.
Yeah. Chuck would use a gun just to give the gorilla a chance. That's what Chuck Norris is there. Okay, that's been Store Brand TMZ. Stay tuned. We got a whole bunch of stuff to get into. Rapid fire for trending this week. All right, it's time for trending this week. Kicking us off, Virginia Giuffre, the Jeffrey Epstein whistleblower. She's an accuser. She was sex trafficked as a minor on Epstein's island. Claims to have dirt on Prince Andrew. Our favorite prince, Mia's favorite prince from the royal family there, from the British Kardashians, claims to have dirt on Prince Andrew. Well, a couple of weeks ago, Virginia got hit by a bus, which is just totally normal. We all get hit by buses, right? Just something that happens. And she was in the hospital, and she said, I may not make it. I've got kidney failure. And then she got out. She recovered. They saved her in the hospital. Don't know what the extent of that was or what was going on there. Whatever. And then last week, she commits suicide. Little odd there, isn't it? Just a tad. Commits suicide.
Kill your fucking selves!
Well, she did. Another Epstein victim, another person tied to this case, kills themselves. I don't know. From what I understand and from what people close to her have said is that she was spiraling and had been losing her mind for a while, which makes sense for someone who went through something as traumatic as being sex trafficked as a teenager. I don't know if this is a conspiracy. I think she might have just lost it and having to relive those horrific moments in court and having it brought up in the national media time and time and time again. I think we should consider that that might just be something that weighs on people heavily. I think not just that, but feeling like you're not getting anywhere with it. You know, there was a sense of false hope when this administration took over that there was going to be some actual justice on this. And then we've gotten nowhere. And it's like they're reviewing every page of this so that they can cross off and redact the names that of the people in organizations that they need to protect. That's what this whole thing feels like to me. And here's the problem. The longer they wait, they being the Trump administration, the worse this looks. Now, I want to make this clear. Just because you rode on that plane doesn't mean you were at the island involved in the trafficking of young girls. In fact, Donald Trump, what people don't want to talk about, yes, Donald Trump ran in the same circles as Epstein. So did all the rich people back in the 80s and 90s. Donald Trump banned Giuffre Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after he had an inappropriate encounter with a 15-year-old employee there. They don't want to talk about that. But the longer Donald Trump's administration waits to reveal these files, the more it looks like either he was complicit in it, Bobby Kennedy was complicit in it, or Israel was complicit in it. And one or all of them are being covered for. So again, I'm not going to sit on this too long. She did tweet a couple of years ago that she was never suicidal, but that doesn't, obviously a lot can change. I'm not going to dwell on this too long because I voiced my displeasure with it in the opening segment of the show. It really frustrates me the way this has been handled. They really dropped the ball on this, and to the point it almost feels intentional. But I think the best way they could honor her would be to reveal these files. Because that's the thing. How is Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in prison right now for sex trafficking when none of the customers are there? Think about that. How did she just sell products to nobody? What business does that? She couldn't have trafficked anybody if there was no one on the other end of that transaction. How has no one else been convicted or arrested or even interrogated? Make it make sense. Release the list and start going after them. Do you feel like anyone's ever going to get arrested, or do you feel like all these people are going to get away with this?
They're all going to get away with it.
It's so disheartening. I feel that way too at this point, because I felt like this is our big chance, especially with as much of an outsider as Patel was. Obviously, someone's gotten to him. I know we've heard stories that FBI agents were destroying the files when he took over. I had issues with them saying that they were going to do it before they took over, because you don't let your enemy know what you're going to do, specifically when your enemy has access to those files to preemptively destroy them before you take office. I didn't like that either. But I feel like if we don't get this now, and we don't get some type of progress now, there'll never be justice for this. And that aggravates me. You know, there's a scene in the movie Boondock Saints, and I've talked about it on here before, where the priest is speaking in the beginning, and he says, we must all fear evil men, but there's a kind of evil we should fear even more, which is the indifference of good men, which means those people that see evil happening and stand by on the sidelines and merely watch it and allow it to continue. Those are the people that cause the real problems in this society, because they have the power to intervene. They have the power to maybe not stop the evil, but prevent it from going any further. And they don't do it. And these people, everyone in this administration, because of the way this has been handled, should be ashamed of themselves. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Canada, C to the Anada, had their elections this week, and Pierre Poilievre, who we've covered greatly, he's a conservative leader over there in Canada. A lot of people were thinking he was going to be the prime minister. In fact, at one point, Polymarket had him at like close to 90% favorability to be the next prime minister of Canada. And it was like watching the Atlanta Falcons up 28-3 in the Super Bowl in the third quarter blow that lead, the way this guy pissed down his leg. You got a guy named Mark Carney takes over for Justin Trudeau. he decides to make his entire campaign about how they're going to fight back against Trump. And Canada, who was sick of the liberal policies, and every poll showed they were sick of the liberal policies, voted for him because Pierre Poilievre came off as a feckless, spineless loser with his tail between his legs. He came off as a politician. As a politician, not a change agent. That's the big critique with him. Those are the words that have been used. Change agent. In fact, Poilievre even lost his own seat in the Canadian House there. So, excuse me. They've blamed everybody but themselves for this. They've blamed Trump. They've blamed the liberals. They need to blame themselves. Poilievre refused to take any chances. I don't understand how anyone can watch what happened in America just a couple of months ago, can watch what's happening, what's worked down with Bukele down in El Salvador, watch what's worked with Javier Milei down in Argentina, watch what Giorgia Meloni did over in Italy, and of course, like I said, what Donald Trump did here in the United States, and go, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Do you want to change something, or do you want to be just another run-of-the-mill establishment politician who gets nothing done? Because right now, Pierre Poilievre, as much as we liked him earlier on, with the pussy-footed tail between his legs campaign that he ran up in Canada, he's their Mitt Romney. You're the guy who refused to take any chances because you didn't want to ruffle any feathers, wouldn't go on any of the podcasts. You would only do mainstream media interviews, even though it worked for everyone who did it down here. And that's part of why you lost. You had Trudeau, who was heavily unliked, his policies, which were wildly unpopular up there. And instead of running against them, all you did was try to distance yourself from Donald Trump. And Mark Carney, and the second Carney went and got into contact with Trump to make it look like he was a negotiator, because that's what they're freaking out about up there in Canada, is Donald Trump and America and the tariffs. And Carney is trying to run on uniting Canada against the United States. Well, I hate to break it to you, that's not going to end well for the Canadian people, but they liked the rallying cry. So they had Poilievre, who was too scared. He just sat there and basically pissed his pants and was too scared to lean too hard into either direction. Now he's going to screw. Now Carney's going to be able to take over and continue to push these socialist bullshit policies. And the whole country's screwed because he ran his campaign like a coward. And they're all going to pay the price for it up in Canada. And I don't know how things are going to go here. Honestly. So I'm split on this. Because I would like to see conservatism spread throughout the world. I would like to see Canada take a hard right turn. But when Trudeau was looking like he was going to be the guy for the Liberals up in Canada, I was almost kind of hoping Trudeau won. Because Trudeau's a feckless prick, and I at least had somewhat respected Poilievre at that point in time. You know what you're getting with Trudeau. Trudeau is easy to bully. He might talk a big game, but nobody takes him seriously. Mark Carney, different animal. Remember what I said about the devil you know versus the devil you don't? That's kind of what you're dealing with here. Mark Carney is a lot more of a strongman image. People respect him more. He's, believe it or not, even further to the left than Trudeau. This is not the guy we want to be dealing with right now, and he appears to be building his entire political brand on being anti-American. That's not good to have directly to the north of us. And then we've got a full-blown communist running the country in Mexico directly to the south of us. That's not a good position to be in. Our allies are trending the wrong directions. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Next up, we have got a judge has been arrested. Go ahead, pull that up there. A judge has been arrested. So on April 25th, Milwaukee County Circuit Judge, call it Circus Judge, Hannah Dugan was arrested by the FBI at the courthouse and charged with obstruction of a federal agency, which is a felony, and allegedly concealing an individual to prevent an arrest. Now, what they're claiming is that she helped an illegal immigrant from Mexico named Eduardo Flores Ruiz, and I got to maintain this is alleged at this point, hide from ICE in her home. hid from ICE in her home. Now, the way that the mainstream media and the way the Democrats and the left have painted this is, oh my God, look at these fascists at the Trump administration. They're going out arresting judges who have been critical of them. Look at this is Nazism right before our eyes. This is how fascism. Well, you guys remember what you shouted pretty much daily when you were running your lawfare against Donald Trump and his associates? It was that no one was above the law. Well, this is the precedent you set. Remember what I said? When you set a precedent, you got to ask yourself, how's it going to be used against you in the future? Because you know it will be. This is what it looks like. Except she actually did break the law here. They're arresting judges. Is this what you voted for? Well, when they break the law, yeah, that is what I voted for. I mean, what are we gonna let her get behind the wheel drunk and kill somebody? Well, she's a judge. Yeah, and do you want a caste system in this country where we have different classes that get different privileges based on what they do? So if she's a judge, she can just break the law, allegedly? Allegedly. I mean, that's the thing.
Politically.
If you or I hid a fugitive from any federal agency in our basement, we would go to prison. And there wouldn't be any Twitter uproar against us. They would have said, yeah, look at that idiot. He let a fugitive hide out in his basement. What did he think was going to happen? That's obstruction of justice and concealing an individual to prevent arrest from a federal agency. That's a felony. What a fool. Now here, let me pull this woman up here. Pull the picture up here. She is hot. Look at that. She is smoking, this Hannah Dugan. I mean, when she inevitably loses her license, she's got a career on OnlyFans waiting for her. So, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, Senator Tammy Baldwin called it an overreach that threatens judicial independence and public safety by deterring immigrants from attending court. No, it threatens people's ability to break the law, which is the whole point of law enforcement, which is, believe it or not, what the FBI happens to be, is a law enforcement agency. So it sounds to me like they're doing their job. Okay, let's go to the next one. We're going to talk about Mia's favorite breed of dog here. The state of Florida passed a dangerous dog law in the Senate, through the Senate. It's going to go to Ron DeSantis' desk for him to sign. Says a bill to increase oversight of dangerous dogs has passed both chambers of the legislature. Now awaits on Ron DeSantis' signature. Known as the Pam Rock Act. Passed the Senate Monday. Identical bill passed the House last week. Contains the following provision. An animal must be confiscated and impounded when it is investigated as a dangerous dog and has killed a person or has bitten and left a mark that scores 5 or higher on the Dunbar bite scale. An animal that is subject to any other dangerous dog investigations must be confiscated and impounded. An animal control authority must notify the owner of the final order classifying their dog by registered mail. The owner of the dog, if the dog is deemed dangerous, they must obtain liability insurance of at least $100,000 and implant a microchip in the dog. Creates a third-degree felony if you remove the chip. And an animal control authority must humanely destroy a dangerous dog that has killed a person or has bitten them seriously and has been surrendered to an animal control authority. So the pit mommies in the comments are big mad about this. They're claiming that this is discrimination against their dog breed. Do you know that, Mia? It's discrimination to say that if your dog kills somebody, we have to put it down. Here's my question. How was this not the law to begin with? What was the law to begin? So if your dog kills somebody, there's a chance you get it back until now? How is that not like... Can we stop with the pit bull propaganda? Can we stop? Oh, it's just the owners. There's no such thing as a bad breed. It's just the... No, it's not just the owners. It's not. It's hundreds and hundreds of years of instinct that's been bred into these dogs. These dogs were bred to fight and to kill. That's what they were bred to do. That's what they do. It's instinct. It's genetics. It's not the owners. Yes, there are owners that have other breeds of dogs and treat them like shit and they do horrible things. And yes, there are dogs that are good dogs that are treated well and they have a medical incident that just makes them snap. I had a dog that was the most well-behaved dog you'd ever see when I was a kid. She had a stroke, freaked out. Okay, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but those are far and few between. The reality is pit bulls make up 6% of dogs in America and 67% of fatal dog attacks. Those numbers are pretty damning. And when you consider that these shelters and people in areas with BSL, breed-specific legislation, lie about what breed their dogs are and say they're lab mixes or boxers or whatever the case may be, both of those numbers probably increase, but I guarantee you the fatality increase is far disproportionate to the total dogs in America percent increase. So you're probably looking at 10 to 12% of dogs in America, and over 80% of fatalities from dogs come from some type of pit. And that's not including attacks on pets. That's just humans. So it's not the owners, guys. You hear it again. Yes, there are dogs that are well trained and have some type of medical incident and snap, but you never hear about it with any other breed to the degree you hear about it with pit bulls. You can check the news several times a week in this country. Perfectly stable, loving families with dogs that never even showed a hint of violence lose their mind and kill either the kid or the mother or the family dog or some stranger that was walking down the street. And they never saw it coming. That's an issue with the breed. That's genetics, okay? Pointers point, Labrador retrievers retrieve, Australian shepherds herd. Believe me, they herd everything. Pit bulls kill. My Aussie has never been on a farm in his life. Instinctively herds us in the house all the time. But when a pit bull, which has been trained to fight, which it's been ingrained in their system to fight and kill for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, freaks out and kills somebody, it's just the owner, right? It's not genetics. It's just the owner. Even though they do it all the time and they do it way more than any other breed, it's just the owner. Is it really the owners, or does this worthless breed just attract worthless people? Because there is a psychology to the average pit bull owner. These are people that want to make a statement. They like the gangster life, being able to associate power over people. Not all of them. I'm not saying all pit bull owners are bad people, but let's be honest, they do attract a certain type of person that they have a high, just like pit bulls have a higher percentage of fatal attacks, pit bull owners have a higher percentage of being trash. Like, if it's really the owners, why do they attract so many bad owners? You know what I always love? Mia, I always love when this argument comes up and people go, pit bulls are nanny dogs. You know, they're nanny dogs. They always say that. Do you know in the 1800s, people used to leave pit bulls with their kids to watch them when they would go out and work on the farm or hunt or go off to war? Yeah, they'd leave their pit bulls with the kids. How could you say that pit bulls are a bad breed when people in the 1800s used to have them watch their kids? Yeah, the 1800s. Do you know what percentage of kids died before their 5th birthday in the 1800s? 40%. If you had 5 kids in the 1800s, 2 of them died before they turned 5. Okay? So maybe we shouldn't take parenting advice from people in the 1800s. Those that didn't die went and worked in the mines. Do you know what was considered over-the-counter cough syrup for children, Mia? Take a guess. What do you think was considered cough syrup for kids in the 1800s?
Whiskey.
No, worse. If you took your kid to the doctor and said, I think he's got a cold and I can't get him to get rid of it, they would prescribe black tar heroin to your child as a cough medicine. Bloodletting was how they treated medical ailments in the 1800s. So maybe we shouldn't take advice, our parenting advice, from the people that gave their kids black tar heroin for a cold. Have we considered that? Have we thought about that? Just for a second. Yeah, next time there's a mass shooting or a fatal car accident, I'm going to do what pit bull owners do because it's so disrespectful and it speaks to the type of trash that these people are more often than not. Anytime you hear about a pit bull mauling a family to death or, killing the family dog or something like that, instead of people just commenting, I'm so sorry for your loss, this is tragic, you'll get like over a dozen pit bull owners, pit mommies, as we call them, in the comments posting pictures of their dogs with their kids or in pajamas or something like that. It's so disrespectful. The next time there's a mass shooting, I'm going to post a picture in the comments on the local news of my AR-15 in pajamas. Be like, wouldn't hurt a fly. There's a fatal car accident. You just post pictures of your kids posing with the car. Not my car. He would never do this. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. And then the pit bull owners will call, oh, what are you, just scared? Are you scared of pit bulls? You idiots pretend to be scared of chihuahuas every time we have this debate. That's their other go-to. Well, I'm much more worried about a chihuahua biting me than a pit bull. I had a chihuahua. It attacked me almost daily. Mia can attest. She had a chihuahua. It was our chihuahua, but it was hers before it lived with me. It attacked me almost daily. And I'll take that daily for the rest of my life over one pit bull attack. One. Let me make this clear to you pit mommies out there. My only fear with the monstrosities you call a pet is that how much ammo I would waste when I pump 15 rounds into it the second that it makes a move on me. The abomination that you consider to be your dog. I carry every time I go on a walk. And here's what I'll tell you. Is if a pit bull jumped, and I will not walk on the same side of the street with a pit bull. I'll cross. You know, kind of like old ladies do when they see a black person. I'll cross the street and go to the other side. If I see a yard of the pit bull in it. If that dog jumps the fence, any of them, and comes running toward me, that is a killing machine. I'm not taking the gamble that monstrosity wants to play with me or my dog or my wife or my kid or whoever's with me. It will not make it across the street before 6 bullets hit it in the head. I'm not playing that game. I'll treat it the same way I would treat a guy coming across the street at me with a baseball bat. Except the guy I can point the gun at and say, hey, fuck off. The pit bull's not going to get the message. So it's going to get treated with that level of seriousness. And to quote Ivan Drago, if he dies, he dies. It's not my problem. And they'll always say, well, these are the same arguments people are having about people, the anti-gun crowd are making about guns, Caleb. How hypocritical are you? Well, no, first off, there's no constitutional right to a pit bull. There's that, number one. Second off, guns are inanimate objects. They're not killing machines that can wake up on the wrong side of the bed one day or think that the kid looked at it the wrong way or maybe just chew up the other family dog across the street because it felt like it and it has a high prey drive. A gun needs an operator. A pit bull does not. Okay? A Glock doesn't wake up one day and decide to walk outside and shoot the woman and her baby walking across the street. Now, a lunatic with that gun might do it, but he could also do it with a knife. He could do it with a bat. He could do it with a hammer. He could do it with his bare hands. You remove the pit bull from the situation, statistically speaking, it's about 80% less likely to happen. If you leave a 4-year-old alone with a loaded gun and they shoot their sibling, you go to jail. But if you leave a 4-year-old alone with a pit bull and it mauls them to death, nothing happens. Why? Both are retarded. So what do we do? There's got to be a solution because I'm all about providing solutions. I don't want to go door to door and take people's dogs from them. That's not what I'm in the business of doing. I'm not interested in that. What I think we do is I think we legislate them out of existence. We make it so that there's a couple things we do. Mandatory insurance, like they're doing in Florida, if you have a pit bull. If your pit bull mauls somebody, you get charged with a crime. So if it kills a kid, you get manslaughter of a child. If it kills a pet, you get cruelty to animals. If it mauls somebody, you get assault. Whatever the case may be, you are responsible criminally for your pit bull's crimes. If a pit bull gets brought into the vet's office, that vet, unless they want to lose their license, is required to mandatorily sterilize it. We find out that dog was in your office and you didn't set up an appointment to have it neutered or spayed, you lose your license for life. We have to crack down on it. And if that person no-shows that appointment, that person loses their dog and we euthanize it. If a pit bull hits the shelter, if they find it as a stray and nobody claims it in 7 days, euthanized. We ban pit bulls as emotional support animals and service animals. You can get a lab, you can get an Aussie, you can get a German Shepherd, you can get all kinds of dogs as your service animal, but you cannot get a pit bull. Now, I know these people aren't always the most responsible, but if pit bull puppies come in, they are all to be neutered and spayed. You legislate the breed out of existence. That's the only way to fix this. Mia, how would you fix the pit bull problem?
I don't know.
You're laughing at our dog, not at what I'm saying. Yes, he is having a tantrum right now. He wants pets.
He farted and got scared of it and jumped off the chair.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yes.
See, he's a normal dog. He's not a muscle-bound monstrosity with a high prey drive. Okay, let's talk about a couple more things and we're going to get out of here. Let's talk about, because we're trying to keep it under 2 hours. Let's go to Amazon here. Yeah, we're not going to hit all of these. We've got, we'll do 3 more. Amazon has decided to start letting its customers know how much is getting charged through tariff, how much of their total bill is going to be from tariffs. Now, here's the thing. This is clearly political. This bothers me because tariffs have always been around. This is nothing new. You never did it until now. This is what pisses me off about this. This is clearly Amazon's attempt at making a political statement, not at any type of customer service. So I'm so sick of hearing this. Look, you guys want to be the ones that are siding with the Chinese, go ahead, because the lines in the sand are being drawn right now. Walmart, Target, and Home Depot all met with the White House a week ago, and they all came out saying pretty much the same thing, echoing the same sentiment, which was that we need these deals to finally get ironed out. It's about time the world stops taking advantage of the United States. We're not going to raise our prices yet. We're going to cut things like corporate bonuses, trips, events, things like that, in order to hopefully be able to alleviate this pressure from our consumers. So these companies aren't going to be charging any more than they once were prior to the tariffs. So I think what this might actually accidentally do, if this continues, is you're going to see a resurgence in brick and mortar stores. If Amazon wants to pass the buck on to their customers with the tariff prices, and Target and Walmart and Home Depot are saying, no, we're not going to do that, people are going to start shopping there, not just because they want to save money, but out of a sense of patriotism. This is the kind of thing that if Amazon's not careful, they're never going to recover from. Because people are going to remember that when the lines in the sand were being drawn, are you going to side with the Chinese or the American people? And other companies like Walmart and Target and Home Depot were siding with the American people, showing that it wasn't undoable, showing that it wouldn't kill your business. Amazon went the other direction. People are going to remember that. There's companies that have had their business models killed because of stances they've taken. Like this, ask Dannon. Remember Dannon? You don't hear about Dannon anymore. The list goes on with that. So that's an interesting one. Stay tuned on how that goes. That's because, like I said, there's always been tariffs. You didn't start showing the prices that tariffs were adding until now. So if they were always doing this, and they were always saying, this is what you're paying in tax, this is what you're paying in shipping, this is what you're paying in tariffs, I wouldn't care. But that's not what they're doing. Amazon's making a political statement right now because Bezos is about his bottom dollar. Again, the tech guy's creeping me out a little bit. Okay, let's talk Michelle. Let's talk Big Mike. This is what Michelle had to say about deportations in America. Go ahead.
Couldn't be. We couldn't walk around saying valedictorian, straight A student, speaks excellent, has excellent diction if you give them a chance. Mm-hmm. We knew very early on that no one was going to see beyond the color of our skin at an early age. And that could get you in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about that fear, I'm sure that fear has been tested across your life in so many different places. And I wonder, what would you say has been the most hardest recent test of that fear? Because it's not one of those fears that you kind of get over and it just goes away. It kind of shows its head in many different ways, I imagine.
Well, in this current climate for me, it's, what's happening to immigrants. So it's not the fear for myself anymore. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable. So my fears are for what I know is happening out there in streets all over the city. And now that we have leadership that is sort of indiscriminately determining who belongs and who doesn't, and we know that those decisions aren't being made with courts and with due process, and, that it's being made like this cop that pulled my brother over when he was 12. You don't look like somebody that belongs. I can determine just by looking at you that you're a good person or you're not a good person. And knowing that there's so much bias and so much racism and so much ignorance that fuels those kind of choices, I worry for people of color all over this country. And I don't know that we will have the advocates to protect everybody. And that frightens me.
That's enough.
It keeps me up at night.
So she's super worried about the deportations under the Trump administration. Now, I think she forgets that her husband earned the nickname Deporter-in-Chief, and Trump is currently on pace at this rate, and it'll probably continue to decline as we get less and less illegal immigrants in the country, to deport half as many people as, quote-unquote, her husband did when he was president. Forgets about that. She looks rough, doesn't she? Did the Botox stop?
I was just thinking, they have how much money and she can't get her teeth fixed?
I know. And then the wrinkles.
Her teeth are all messed. Okay, well, that's...
I thought it was
like
Whoopi
to
Goldberg.
age naturally.
I thought it was Whoopi Goldberg. What happened to Black Don't Crack? Is that a lie? Is that a lie? So she said there's been speculation that her and Barack are getting divorced. Did you hear about that? And she commented on it on her podcast. She said, "I'm not divorcing Barack. I'm choosing me." Which means that's woman speak for divorced by Christmas. There's no way. There has never been a woman on earth that said the words, "I'm choosing me," and stayed in her relationship. They're done. Those two are cooked. That's Bill and Hillary 2.0. If they stay married, it's for the political convenience. Those two aren't even sleeping in the same house. She had another scene from her podcast where she interviewed someone who is the brave, courageous father of a trans kid. Fucking demented freaks. And here's what she had to say. I think Big Mike might have let one slip here, because we know the conspiracy about Michelle being a man. You guys tell me in the comments on YouTube and Rumble. Go ahead.
I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about, just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man. Would you care to share that journey of...
Well, I learned...
Did she just refer to herself as a Black man? Is that a Freudian slip? Was that an accident? Or did she just let everybody know that she's Big Mike? What do you think?
I think that was just an accident. I don't think it's that deep.
Barack Obama did have a friend named Big Mike that nobody can track down from high school. And there's no pictures of Michelle pregnant. I went into this thinking it was the craziest conspiracy in the world. I still don't know if I believe it, but the foundation has some cracks in it now. That's all I'll say. So you don't think that she's fessing up to being Big Mike there? Okay, if you say so. We got one more story to cover, and it's, how the mighty have fallen. Let's talk about Bill Belichick real quick. Bill Belichick did a CBS interview to promote his new book. And he went on with his 24-year-old girlfriend. They met when she was 20, supposedly on an airplane. And this clip is going viral. Go ahead, check this out.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
So that whole interview, she called the shots like that. And it's he's getting up there. There's art. Like, does Bill's family need to have an intervention here? Is their father losing it? Mia, how mad would you be if you were going to inherit hundreds of millions of dollars from your dad and some girl that was young enough to be your daughter swooped in and married him?
I'd be pissed.
Worked her way into the will.
Especially if you were like banking on that money, like
Oh.
you've been expecting it.
Listen,
I'd be pissed.
I'm not advocating for anything, but I will tell you money makes people do some stupid, stupid shit. And this is the kind of thing people get killed over. This is the kind of thing people get missing over or go missing over. Now, Bill Belichick did issue a statement where he said, I agree to speak with CBS Sunday morning to promote my new book, The Art of Winning, Lessons from My Life in Football. Prior to this interview, I clearly communicated to my publicist and Simon & Schuster that any promotional interviews I participated in would agree to focus solely on the contents of the book. Unfortunately, the expectation was not honored during the interview, blah, 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 blah. So this has raised questions about where did these two meet? Is the plain story true? Or is there something they don't want us to know? Now, this leads my mind to go to two places. And again, this is speculation. I have no proof of either of these. But that tells me, number one, they met when she was not of age, the way she reacted there. Or number two, she may be doing some stuff for a little bit of cash with older men. What do you think? You're a woman. You're into the celebrity gossip. Why do you think she reacted that way? How do you think they met?
I don't believe they met on a plane for a second.
No, I don't believe that either. No, it's there's definite. I'm not saying she's an escort. I'm not saying she was a minor, but that's where my mind jumps when I hear things like that. I don't believe that story at all, though. Also, where are her parents? How are you just okay with this? Like, your daughter is. Like, clearly you failed to raise your daughter if she's out gold digging like this. You did something wrong as a parent if she's out. I mean, I guarantee you that he's probably older than her grandparents right now. She's 24 years old. When he was 50, she was born. 50! She was born. This girl was not alive when people were watching VHS tapes. And she's dating this guy. That's the age gap here. Bill Belichick, they were using sonograms or whatever. You know, I mean, that's the age gap here. There's definitely something going on. And it sucks to see this guy, like, there's this stereotype about like, oh, the old guy's got out, get the hot young girlfriend. That's not a position you should envy. That's not something that you should applaud somebody on. That's, in my mind, that's not quite as bad, but almost as bad as when you see those teachers that are kind of attractive that sleep with the 15-year-old boys that are their students, and everyone's like, well, why couldn't she have been my teacher? That guy was slaying ass. That fucks that kid up for a long time. That's someone who's vulnerable, being taken advantage of by a scumbag. And I don't think when I see an age gap like that with an old guy with a girl in her 20s, I don't see that as much different. That girl is milking him. And he thinks he's this hot shit player the same way that the kid who sleeps with the teacher does. And in reality, he's being taken advantage of in more ways than he has any idea. And he's all too happy to go along with it. And there's all too many people supporting and enabling it. And it's just really gross to me to see that. So I think there is a form of abuse. Now, at the end of the day, they're consenting adults. They're allowed to do whatever they want, no matter how disgusting I find it. They're consenting adults. But we agree we don't believe the plane story. We agree on that. Yeah, I don't believe the plane story either. Not for us. Maybe was it Epstein's plane? Is that where they met? Lies! Was that might have been the plan? No, we're dabbling in rumors. They're jokes. Comedy show. I'm kidding. That's been our show. We'll see you Monday. I'm gonna try to set that panel up on the first 100 days of Trump. We'll see what I can do. But we'll see you on Monday, guys. Cheat on your taxes, not your spouse, and stay based.